We talk about food, we talk about music, with musical dudes. Finger on the pulse, Snacky Tunes. Coconut sense, the 99 cents. I met a guru on a white sandy beach. He said the future of sound. I like the sound. Freshly washed hair, coconut sense, 99 cents. I met a guru on a white sandy beach. He said the future of sound. I like the sound. Freshly washed hair, coconut sense, 99 cents. I met a guru on a white sandy beach. He said the future of sound came to him in a dream.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Snacky Tunes. I'm one half of your host, Ted Diabolic, your finger on the pulse. It's a beautiful, beautiful fall day in the lovely November, and we have a great show today. That was just DJ Never Forget. What's up, buddy?
Hey man, how's it going?
It's going great. Who are we just listening to?
Well, they're sitting with me in studio right now, so I guess they can introduce themselves. Hello, guys.
Hey.
We have Lemonade in studio today.
Woo! Yeehaw!
What's up?
And that was just a DeLorean remix of one of your tracks.
It was.
They really put that DeLorean sound all over that track.
They put the DeLorean sound over everything they do.
Yeah, I guess that's, so that's good. Welcome. How you guys doing
Thanks
today?
for having us.
Yeah.
Well.
I'm glad that we can make this happen.
Yeah.
You guys are going to be spinning for us today
Love to.
and talking about the band.
Sure.
Sweet. All right.
Awesome. Good.
So that's coming.
That's good.
That's coming up later.
Hey, by the way, great weekend.
Yeah, great weekend. We also have Marvin Taylor, who is the director of the Fails Collection from NYU.
Great guy.
A little bit. Great guy. We saw him speak a couple weeks ago. And, who's our sponsor today?
Oh, man. You know who it is.
Tell me.
Drive out to Red Hook. Let's go to Fairway Market.
Oh, I love that place.
I keep telling you that you should go out there and hang out. It's a good place. It's a good place to take
When
girls.
we sign up for Zipcar.
Oh yeah,
That's what we'll
fine. But yeah, so Fairway Market. A few locations in the city, but the one out in Red Hook is really awesome. You can go out there and just buy a bunch of
Our neighbor was
food.
just out there. She just showed me like a $30 jug of apple juice, organic apple juice she bought.
Yeah,
it was
that,
really good.
I've
Delicious.
never seen
Yeah.
so much apple juice, but it's awesome. It's really great. You can walk out the pier. Perfect for a day like today.
How does one get there?
I think you take the B61 if you don't do it, or you can scam your way onto the IKEA ferry from the city. But
Ooh.
you didn't hear that from us.
Yeah.
So
But it was a really, really good weekend.
great weekend. We were at the Bell House yesterday for Derek and Andrew's Brooklyn beefsteak,
Which we talked about last week.
which we talked about last week, and it was awesome.
It was awesome.
Big up to McSorley's.
Just so people
Oh, yeah,
who
sorry.
weren't listening, beefsteak, it's a tradition that, as we learned yesterday, started in Brooklyn, was kept alive in Jersey, and essentially it's what politicians used to do to buy votes from the working class. They would pretty much have these events where it was all you could drink beer and all you could eat beef tenderloin. to
But
get votes.
Wow.
they stepped it up because it was Pat LaFrida sponsored all the beef, and it was sliders, tenderloin, and then short ribs at the end.
Yeah.
And I know that you were concerned about not getting enough.
I want to say that I wasn't concerned about not getting enough. I was concerned about the service. Which in those events there was like 200 people there.
Yeah.
There was like 10 tables, and like then each table had like the front section and then the back. So you're talking about, and then ancillary things. You're talking about like 30 different stations. And to be fair, the guys to the right of us were seriously at like a 3 to or almost 4 to 1 ratio. They had hats. Yeah, they were like really like very good at flagging people down.
It was good, the short rib. But
So congratulations to the guy. They just graduated from Wesleyan too. So
seriously, two innovators with who like beef and beer as much as we do. Oh yeah, McSorley's unlimited.
yeah, I mean it was like
Yeah.
we crawled out of
Sounds
there.
pretty fun.
We were like leaving. And they were like we're still putting more meat on the grill.
I had a similar thing in the hometown, Half Moon Bay, where I grew up, with
Yeah.
the Chamarita Festival. It's a Azorian Portuguese thing.
Oh really?
And it started, I think, because there was some famine or a drought. I forgot, something caused famine in the Azores, and then right when they didn't know how they were going to survive week to week, it was really, really running dry. The Queen sent over a bunch of provisions, and so for them, they thought it was an act of God. And then now the tradition is they all donate beef, and the farmer who donates the most beef for this huge feed they have, it's the Holy Ghost Festival, right? For this huge feed, whoever gives the most beef, his daughter gets to be the Chamarita Queen.
Oh, have you been to it?
Oh, I grew up in it. Yeah.
Oh, you grew up in it. Oh,
yeah. I grew up around
Is
a
it
lot.
awesome?
It's really fun.
That's awesome.
It's marinated beef with like a red wine, and it's really simple actually. It's like onions and red wine, I think, and then they serve it on big, crusty kind of Portuguese bread.
Do you
and
eat the bread?
I do eat the bread.
Okay, but
Because it soaks up the sauce. Imagine like a French dip.
because the
Okay.
tradition of the beefsteak is you're not supposed to eat the bread. You're supposed to stack it as kind of bragging rights of how much beef you've eaten.
Some
Oh,
people,
wow.
I mean, like I know that we put down a decent amount of beef, but there were some stacks of bread that I was just like, holy crap!
I
mean, it was
Yeah.
literally like 100 pieces of bread neatly stacked.
That's why at sushi buffets they have rules where like you have to eat the rice.
Oh
Oh.
Yeah.
Huh.
Yeah.
Interesting. So that was Sunday. No, that's actually good. I didn't even know that it was like a. That's good to know that like massive feast traditions.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
It was great, and then we also hit up K-Town this weekend for Vice just did a new blog with VBS with David Chang. Big shout out to John Martin for sharing that with us. Oh, and shout out to Shannon for tuning in as well. But David Chang went to Mad for Chicken in K-Town, and it was probably like the most crispy, some of the most delicious.
It's twice
fried chicken, and then soju. This like. I don't know. This like
Korean vodka.
Korean vodka, yeah,
It's-
which I'd never heard of before, and it was like passion
Coming
fruit.
at the. I mean, I guess they
I
don't.
think it's rice, distilled rice.
Yeah. But they served it. The guy assured us that if we didn't drink it cut, we would be not able to walk out of the place. And I was like, all right.
You know, in San Francisco, you could serve soju with a beer and wine license.
Yes, it's actually Sam Mason last night was telling me that K-Town is the only place where I think they can serve liquor without a liquor license because it's so steep in the tradition.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, you know,
Okay.
drinking and food, right?
Yeah,
but I know.
But it was really good. We ended up getting 2 rounds because and they had like just 2 different types of like hot and sweet.
Mhm.
That was it. But all of that didn't really compare to Saturday night, which was the fixed 5-year anniversary at Santos.
Yeah,
Where-
big shout out to JDH and Dave P. Like fixed. I mean, sort of grew. I guess
Yeah.
part of
You know
starting and
those
making
guys, right?
time, and then making time into fixed is like the more a little bit grown up party, I would say, and just like it was unbelievable. Basement Jacks were amazing, and who was that
I wish I
singer?
was there.
Who was it singing? They had some.
I got her name last night from Travis, but I honestly cannot remember. But they warmed up the crowd for about 40 minutes, and they brought out this vocalist,
English vocalist who
Diva.
Diva. Oh my god!
Wonderful.
I mean, capital D-I-V-A.
5'5", just huge voice. I mean, I almost feel like she didn't need a microphone.
And I think the best. I've been to Santos before, but I don't think I've ever seen Santos go off like that. Like the bartenders were freaking. Like the bartenders were dancing on top of the bar and like raining down everybody with like the soda guns.
When they played Raindrops, they just sprayed the. It was kind of almost a little bit too much, but they were so excited.
They were so excited.
Yeah.
But big shout out to them. It was really just like it was really amazing. Had a little teary eyed for Studio B. Just because, they're the ones who helped us get in there. But congratulations to them and all that good stuff. And I'm sure they have like another amazing party coming out this week. And speaking of amazing parties, we got ours this Saturday, November 14th with Famous Friends. We're bringing in Russ Chimes from the Valley Collective this Saturday night at the Space on 8th. And it's going to be awesome. Captain Kurt Live, we're DJing, Bradley D, VDRK. Free before 11:30 with the RSVP, which is I'm drawing a blank right now, but I'll have for you after the break. We got a song coming up. We got Lemonade in the studio. We got some special food guests coming up, and listen to Snacky Tunes. Shout out to Jack Inslee and Rectech. Let's go.
All right, that was just the Louis LaRoche remix of Basement Jack's Raindrops, a highlight. They also played some song that was super epic towards the end that had like this 2-minute build that I, didn't happen to ask anybody. We're gonna get Lemonade set up in here. Do you want to help Darin swap out that stuff?
Sure.
I'm gonna do an interview. So on our food guest today is a wonderful man who we met at a lecture a couple weeks ago at the Fales Library. And Marvin, you with us?
Yeah, I'm here.
Marvin, hi. How are you?
Hey, good. How you doing?
I could do it, but you could probably do it better justice. Would you like to introduce yourself to Snacky Tunes and tell people what you do and where you do it?
Sure. I'm the director of the Fales Library at New York University, and that's the rare book and manuscript collection here. And so I keep track of our historical collections in fiction and food studies, as well as the downtown art scene from the 70s, 80s, and 90s.
That is amazing. What really struck me is they have a massive culinary book collection, correct?
Yes, absolutely. In fact, I think we're the second largest collection now in the U.S.
How many books are in your collection?
We're somewhere around 22,000 volumes right now.
Which is mind-blowing to me. I mean, I know it's a huge library, but 22,000 volumes is just so big.
Sure, and that's mostly 20th century food materials. There are only maybe 600 or 800 titles before 1900.
I mean, you and I talked about this a bit, but do you want to give the listeners an idea of what makes up the collection and what they could find what you could find in the archives?
Sure. Well, the collection here supports the programs at NYU, including the Food Studies program, which is over in the School of Ed. And Marion Nessel, who was, wrote Food Politics and What to Eat, started that program over there about 18 years ago. But the libraries had really never built a collection to support food studies. And so she came to me and said that she'd heard about this great collection of like 7,000 or 8,000 books that we should try to take a look at and see if we couldn't get it here, because there really wasn't a place in New York where you could really come and study, food of the last 100 years. And so we went and looked. It was a collection of Cecily Brownstone, who was the AP syndicated food writer for 39 years and a very close friend of James Beard's. And then as much as sort of Beard was like the father of American cuisine, Cecily was sort of his, she sort of sometimes called herself Beard's Beard. She went with him to all these events and things, and she was an amazing woman. But she built her own reference and research collection because a lot of libraries weren't collecting food materials. If they did, they thought of it as home economics instead of really like a food collection the way we do. And so we were able to get Cecily's collection to start things here. And basically it was like acquiring 60 years of a curator's work and putting together a really great collection of food material. And after that, people started donating amazing things to us to really build a center in New York for people who are serious about studying food and in all of its repercussions. So Dahlia Carmel gave us her extensive collection, about 8,000 books. She continues to give. And Ladies' Home Journal, the Beard Foundation, and a couple of other places have given us their libraries. So suddenly we ended up with 22,000 books and almost, but not quite, the largest collection in the U.S.
So, I mean, it kind of grew at leaps and bounds once you provided a home for this.
Absolutely. I think the time was just right for this kind of collection to be built here. And our collection, we have a slightly different approach to it than some of the more traditional collections. I mean, some collections grew up because people were teaching home economics. Others grew up in the 70s because of the women's movement and sort of interest in almost sort of counterintuitive women's interest in food collections, sort of feminist interest. But our collection is much broader than that, and those collections were too. But our collection really looks at all aspects of food, from high dining to ethnic eating to the various cultural aspects of food. And with a special focus on New York City in terms of getting archival materials, personal papers of chefs, and archives of purveyors of fine foods, et cetera, et cetera. So we have a slightly different approach, a sort of culture studies approach to the history of food.
Yeah, well, I mean, when we spoke, that was easily one of the most interesting points, that a lot of these food study programs grew out of more women's-based studies as opposed to actual food or culinary background.
Sure. No, I think that was really certainly true. And Barbara Haber, who was at the Schlesinger Library, where she's one of the pioneers in building these kinds of collections. She said the other day she got a bit of flack from the first wave feminists when she started talking about how important food was. Certainly, people think very differently about that today. But we don't just want to go the other way, the other end of things, and be the hyper-masculine world of the Escoffier Society, or of, dare I say, all of these Iron Chef shows. But interestingly enough, we just celebrated a couple of weeks ago the donation of the papers of Les Dames d'Escoffier of New York, which was the first women's organization in the high-end food world, and they gave us their papers.
What and what can be found in papers like that? What is the
In their particular case, it's minutes from all the meetings as they started to organize in the early 70s. And then they developed an internship program, and they give out funds to help women get involved in high-end dining, in restaurateuring, etc. So there's a lot about the development of that organization. Other collections have photographs. You might have audio, video, all these things which we call primary resources for the study of the history of food in this country.
Now, if I was, how would someone get access to this collection?
Well, we're not a browsing collection, as I like to say. People don't come here to look for a marinara recipe, right. but what they are. So anyone who's a student or a faculty member or someplace, or a food writer or somebody in the business who has a research project, they can send a note to fails.library@nyu.edu, and chances are they'll be allowed to have access to work on a very specific research topic. And that happens all the time here. I think the food studies collections quickly become the second most popular collection that we have, and that's growing all the time.
That's wonderful. Just a couple more things. One of the great things about the talk is that you had recently gotten something, I believe, from the Sherry family donated to you. Correct?
Well, sort of. I mean, we actually purchased something related to Louis Sherry's catering empire, I think is the way to talk about it.
Right. And could you just explain about it? Because I mean, that was the thing that kind of had us perk up in our seats. That you got your hands on this type of document or ledgers, even.
It was one of the most amazing things that I had seen in quite a while. I got a letter out of the blue from a dealer who said that he had the Louis Sherry archive, and I'm like, okay, because Sherry I knew was a really, really important person, turn of the last century, in terms of catering to the 400. And so what this consisted of was 4 volumes of menus that had been planned for his catering business. He ran a couple of very large restaurants as well, but he was catering to the very, very upper crust. And so this would be important for understanding the role of, say, French haute cuisine within the U.S. in that period, within a given echelon of people. And so he sent it on approval, and I looked at it, and there were over 2,500 menus. It lists the person who was the client, whether that was the Roosevelts or the Carnegies or J.P. Morgan, or you'd go on down the list. And it lists what was served, but then more fascinating perhaps than that is it lists how many servants were needed, what kind of china was used, what kind of wines were served, et cetera, et cetera. So it really is this amazing cultural document, sort of cultural history seen through the lens of high-end dining. These dinners for 500 people that were thrown, for weddings especially, a lot of those kinds of sort of festive banquet kinds of things. But also it's an index to the kinds of ingredients that were being used in a period from 1891 to 1930. And this is Louis Sherry, who was a self-made man, started as a water boy, and ended up sort of being, the probably one of the great gourmands of the period in New York City.
Yeah, it's wonderful. I mean, I can only imagine the resources that if chefs wanted to do a golden era recreation series type thing, that could just be invaluable, or even for research alone.
Oh no, absolutely.
Raw data.
And for all kinds of research. I was looking through it the other day with someone. I was thinking, like, boy, if we just did an index to this thing of the kinds of things that were served, the number of servants, and sort of, there are all kinds of fascinating data that you could get out of it in this sort of sociological way, quite differently from just in terms of the development of a certain kind of taste and haute cuisine and sort of the gourmet aspects of the collection. I always look at things and try to say, well, how many dissertations are in something if we're going to get it?
Right.
And because there's and this is just, it's unbelievable the amount of research that can be done. And this is all that's left, these 4 volumes. It was probably more like 100 volumes, but somewhere along the way, as the Sherry company changed hands, the stuff got thrown away. So we're lucky that we have 2,500 menus to work from.
That's amazing. So one last thing, when you and I spoke this morning, you said that you have a big project that you're working on, and it says the James Beard and his Circle and the American Food Revolution. And I was wondering if you could expand on that a little bit.
Sure. Well, interestingly enough, people in the industry don't write much down. they're too busy cooking. And so you sometimes don't have any archives or any papers left. Beard actually did keep things, and we have about 35 boxes of his collection. But a lot of people don't write anything down, so you have to do oral histories to actually capture the memories of what it was like in a given period. And so we were very, very lucky that Judy Weinraub, who had worked in Washington for many years as a journalist writing about food, was interested in doing an oral history project with us. And she was especially interested in Beard and his changes and his thoughts about American food. And and I was very keen to get the stories of some of the people who knew Beard, because of course he's gone and many of his contemporaries are. But there was a slightly sort of the next generation below him who he helped encourage. And so we thought, wow, we should go out and interview everyone and get their memories of what the food circles were like in the 60s and 70s. And so we've been working for the past year on that with a grant from the Leon Levy Foundation, which is just fantastic. We're going to come away with about 50 interviews of people who were involved in Beard Circle, but then also people who have been involved in what we're thinking of as the American food revolution, what's happened in the past 15 years as people really start to pay much more attention to eating healthfully. And, food has certainly become a national obsession, which is really a great thing.
And when does that come out, or how do people have access to that?
Well, what we're going to do is we're doing transcriptions. So the oral history is done, with audio, and then transcriptions are going to be available here in the library for people who want to come in and do research. And of course, they'll be indexed so that you have all the names, et cetera. It's a little easier to gain access to. But they'll be available primarily here at NYU.
Awesome. Well, Marvin, thank you so much for joining us.
Inviting me.
We appreciate it, and we look forward to the project, and we will be in touch.
Yep. Thanks very much.
All right. All right, everybody. That was Marvin Taylor, director of the Fails
Awesome
Collection.
guy. Nice job,
really,
buddy.
thanks. I was really excited for that interview.
No, it's just one of those, I don't know, just one of those amazing resources. Only in New York, the other side.
Oh, I feel like it's just people that this show has kind of opened doors to meeting that we would normally never meet. So, and he's a nice guy, and he has there's a whole other history to him that if you he has a couple books written that we just can't go into. But looking at so we've got Lemonade with us, gentlemen. How are you all set up over there?
Yeah, we got it.
I think we're ready to go.
All right, so why don't you guys have you guys spin some tunes, and then we'll come back and do an interview, and then more tunes, and interview, then more tunes.
Sounds like a good idea.
Sounds good to me.
And big shout out to Roberta's.
Yeah,
pizza.
Yeah.
Thank you, Roberta's.
And this Friday they're doing another fundraiser for the rooftop
it's
party.
called the Slasher Strip Club Party, Friday 13th at Star Space 108 Star, fundraising hell for 1 Acre Farm in Brooklyn. I believe this is the rooftop, right?
Yeah, it was that same thing they had a few weeks ago with Joel Bastianich and
And I think
Tom Moylan.
we're DJing, and Lauren Flax, who is like 3-time guest on Snacky Tunes, is DJing, and
Shout out to Flax.
a bunch of
Go
other
see your
people.
DJ at Cinespace in LA tomorrow night.
Yeah. So yeah, we're excited. Anyway, here we go. Lemonade, Snacky Tunes.
thing like we no need for mass. You want to see me in a year one class? Just give me some class. Say. I beg your pardon, what did you say? Do it! Mesh it, Aya, mesh it! Say we no need for mass. Say we no need for mass. Say we no need for mass. We in a year one class. Hey, we no need for mass. Say we no need for mass. Say we no need for mass. We in a year one class.
You drop out a rum tree in a rum glass. Drop out a rum tree in a rum glass. You're bound to hurt your ass. Stang, all they say you're bound to hurt your ass. So
hey yeah, come in say we no need famous. Say we no need famous. Some of them a beer trial, some of them a beer class. Some can't find them way through, them a get lost. But we no need famous. Say we no need famous.
Cause we no need famous, we in a A1 class. So pull your screw body boo, chihuahua. Pull your screw body boo. Me say the man Naphtali have a high IQ 222.
Me say the man Ryan ranking have a high IQ. Say 222. So what? We no need famous. Say we no need famous. Say we no need famous. We in a year one class. Cause some of them a drink rum out a rum glass. Cause some of them a pass and them a say yo to the bars. We no need famous. We no need famous. We no need famous. We in a A1 class.
You drop out a rum tree in a rum glass.
Hey.
Drop out a rum tree in a rum glass. So me no need famous. Me no need famous. Me no need famous. Me in a A1 class. Say when me go a dance, me have a spliff in a me hand. Me dance with the woman, them one by one. That's how me get me satisfaction. Stang, will it how me get me satisfaction. Hey, can me say him no need famous. Me no need famous. Me no need famous, we in a A1 class.
Hey, we no need famous. Say we no need famous. Say girl, don't let your love cut across. Cause when you really get up, them a eat them breakfast. Me go in a the dance and me a fi go rock. But we no need famous. Say we no need famous. Say we no need famous. We in a year one class.
I no brag, we a brag, and I no boast, we a boast. Say when it come to mic, man, we really can toast. So we no need famous.
Hey, yeah.
We no need famous.
Tell them.
We no need famous.
Your radio, you could hear the advertisement saying so. Like them songs get about mama them others. Go alone, getting all the honors. As the stickers stick up, all about with it. Telling each and everyone how coke is it. On the boat ride, they using coke. On the bus ride, they using coke. I tell you. In the party, they use it. In the disco, they use it. I tell you, they drinking whiskey, they use it. They drinking brandy, coke is it. I tell you, coke is it. Coke is it. Coke is it. Coke is it. Trinidad, they using coke. In Antigua, they using coke. I tell you, in Grenada, they using it. White in India, they using it. I tell you, in St. Lucia, they using it. In Jamaica.
Hey everybody, welcome back to Snacky Tunes. That was just Lemonade, dropping their first of 2 DJ sets on Snacky Tunes. I'm one half of Finger on the Pulse, Terry Diabolic, with me in the sweater, looking full on pizza. I think you just got pizza. I got pizza eyes.
It just hit me. So yeah. So why don't you guys introduce yourselves? I don't think we did a proper introduction. Names.
I'm Ben.
Eyes in the pizza prize.
Yeah.
I'm Alex.
Star signs. What's your like? No.
And what were some of the songs we just heard? What were some of those tunes?
The first tune, the synthy thing, was this group called Free Choice from Australia that I just stumbled upon. I think they're cool. And then followed by a Roy Ranking track, followed by a soca artist by the name of Poser, who I
Sweet.
just
I
dug up.
probably didn't know the name. Kind of got lost in translation.
Yeah, most likely. I don't know.
Um,
Artwork's really good on it, though. Like a big butt on it.
So you guys were just telling us in the break that you guys just came back from tour and played a crazy food party in San Francisco. Oh, you should try the calzone. It's really good. Get in there.
Tasty.
There's a reason why there's like a corner left.
Yeah.
Tell us about this food San Francisco party.
Well, I used to work at a place called Tartine Bakery, which is one of the best bakeries in my mind. Well, I think in a lot of people's. They won the James Beard Award.
It's pretty famous.
Last year. Yeah.
It's pretty well known.
I used to work there, and I met a friend, Chris, who was a chef at a place called the Slow Club, which is also in the Mission. And then he got really involved once he stepped up and he became executive chef, and then he moved over to Bar Tartine. He got really involved in what I like to think of as the DIY scene of food. So they, for instance, go and have a big goat roast in Sonoma County on someone's farm. They have some bands play, and then they make birria tacos for everyone. And they have someone with the masa pounding out tortillas, and they roast this big goat, and they always have these parties going on. The last one I played with an accordion trio I play in at a christening of a wood-burning oven in the middle of the Mission. This time, our friend Mark, who's a friend of his from North Carolina, runs a magazine called Food and Sex, and so he flew us out for this party they were doing where they're roasting or barbecuing in a pit barbecue a 520-pound steer, I think.
Who brought that steer down?
I'm not sure, but everything they do, it's always donated from local farmers.
Oh.
So, for instance,
Our friend Chris showed up to the show like reeking of beef.
Yeah.
Oh, I can only imagine.
How?
I didn't smell it.
How was the steer?
He smelled awful.
Did you get to eat it?
No, we had a flight out like the next morning.
Yeah, it was pretty. That was the only bummer.
We missed eating.
Wait a second. So they started cooking. How long did it take to cook that thing?
I think they started at 10 o'clock at night because the party they needed it ready and hot for was 6 p.m. the next day. So they started 10 at night. So what is that?
Did they cook it whole?
Yeah, that's mine.
18 hours.
Was it done in pieces, or was it done as like a whole sort of like pig roast type
I think
of
it's
thing?
like flayed out. And
Yeah,
the whole,
in the pit. Wow. They did it
How big
at
is that?
Alamany Gardens. Or farms.
Think about
Alamany
520
Farms.
pounds.
It's a big.
Well, at the beefsteak they had 350 pounds, and that was like
Yeah, but
200
that wasn't
people.
It wasn't
no,
one
I know,
animal.
but I'm saying like that was like 200 people eating steadily for 3 hours. So add like another 200 pounds to that,
Yeah,
and then wrap that all up
steer.
in skin
Yeah.
into one animal.
Yeah.
Huge.
Wow, that's awesome. So,
So how did you? So what I want to know, like as a bakery, what did you? Were you a bake bread?
I wasn't
Pastries?
actually. I worked in front.
Oh,
front of house.
I dated one of the bakers for a while.
How is that? Now, okay, without saying
She's
names, I was gonna say I've heard rumors that all bakers are just totally crazy.
Pretty nuts. Well, I mean, I love the entire.
that's how
staff
you
there.
want
It's
to
such
keep
a-
your community fan base. You want to label a food show
I-
as crazy.
No, hold on. Wait a
So
second.
this next segment is crazy.
I'm not going on like stereotypes. I'm just saying that like
I
everyone
heard
who
all.
I'm saying that like everyone I've talked to about bakers that they have worked with or worked for, crazy.
Pretty much. One of the bakers there apparently used to sleep with George Michael,
Nice.
and he quit shortly thereafter. But I heard a lot of really insane stories about that guy. Everyone else is, you don't really know what they do in their private lives.
Yeah.
And they're kind of, in any kitchen, you're always kind of trying to avoid the main folks in charge, especially the chefs, because they're kind of, first of all, they're wielding the knives.
They're wielding the knives. But I mean,
Second-
to be perfect every day in, day out,
Yeah.
6-7 days a week. I mean, for
Crunch
years
time.
on end.
It's crunch time.
Your brain, something's got to give, and usually it's the sanity.
Yeah.
So you said you also just got back from touring Europe.
Yeah, we went out.
Was that just maybe not just?
It was pretty recently. We went out and played a festival on the Isle of Wight in the UK called Bestival. And,
Was it really the festival?
It was pretty nuts.
Who
We had,
played?
It was headlined by Massive Attack and Kraftwerk.
It's pretty best.
That's pretty. That's pretty
pretty
nuts.
cool.
It was pretty kick-ass. We had a really stressful time on our day, but the
Yeah.
second day after
Exhaustion.
Alex left early and missed the fun part.
It's true.
Oh,
Cousin's wedding.
Yeah.
Was the wedding fun?
Incredible.
Good food.
Yeah.
Alright.
Food was okay.
What do they feed you at like festival? Because if you're going with bands, I mean, just like lemonade.
That was the problem.
That was one of
Oh.
the problems was that we showed up like after we literally drove from Paris to the Isle of Wight, like took the ferries and everything, and it was like
Was that fun at least?
it was kind of a long. I
Okay.
mean, we left at 5:30 in the morning from Paris, drove to
Yeah.
the ferry, took the ferry across, drove to another ferry, and took the ferry to the Isle of Wight, and then showed up and couldn't get fed. So that was kind
How
of
do they?
rough.
How do you not
Really
get
frustrating.
fed?
I don't know. It was
I mean, I know. I mean,
It's-
I've done
it was
I've done
incredible.
a million events, and I know how that happens because you're like trying to take care of your massive attacks and everything, and then on the way down, and I can see how people make decisions. That's kind of just
Yeah, I mean, from what I've heard, as far as the big European festivals, that's kind of not something to be too shocked about. But we haven't not played a lot of festivals, and the one we played prior to that was Primavera Sound in Barcelona. Which
Oh,
is
it's wonderful.
like the
The
best.
best.
Yeah, it's awesome.
And
Hospitality's incredible.
Yeah.
It's
But,
in
it's
Barcelona.
funny.
It's
Soup to
funny.
nuts,
Actually,
actually.
I've heard that Primavera is like from fans to bands, like everyone is taken care of.
yeah,
But it's
incredible.
funny because a lot of the bands that we talk to tour Europe say that on the smaller shows they usually get treated much better than like in American shows. Like usually the promoter takes them out, or there's like
Definitely.
a family meal at the restaurant. Like when when Sharon Jones was talking about like them going on tour, and they're like, oh, when they go to Europe, they just eat and eat,
Yeah.
they eat, but not so much for the festivals.
Yeah, I mean, festivals. It's a big crazy mess, and
Yeah.
I'm not gonna be angry about it.
Wait,
Yeah, it was really unorganized.
So now that we've gone this, what was the fun part that you missed out on?
The second day, well, I mean, we showed up. We were really stressed out. We had to play. We were, underfed and couldn't get drinks and whatnot. The second day, it was like, okay, now we can sleep in, and our expectations are a little lower, so we'll just go buy some food, and then we'll go see, Lindstrom and the Raga Twins, and a bunch of DJs playing crazy music, and have a pretty awesome day and
Lindstrom's
night.
pretty good.
Lindstrom was fun.
Saw him at Pitchfork. He was pretty good.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, he's cool, and it was like an outdoor stage. It was awesome.
I mean, you step back, you're like, all right, I'm in Europe. I'm outdoors at a festival, surrounded by awesome people.
Yeah, everybody's on drugs. It's cool.
What?
Yes.
What?
It's true.
At an electronic music festival in Europe? I don't buy it.
Just natural things like sassafras.
Oh, of
Yeah,
course.
right.
So,
I have to ask, do you guys have any shows coming up anytime soon? I know that's a
We do.
traditional band question,
Um,
but that's my
fine.
one. That's my
good.
one.
No, this is good.
okay.
Yeah, we're playing at Rutgers
Yes.
on Friday.
I want to play at college. Now that I've been out of college,
We're going to.
Oh yeah,
We're
we
going to
are.
go DJ Rochester.
Yeah?
All right. Yeah, we're playing. We're playing at
Rochester's
Rutgers.
pretty
I've heard some things. Yeah.
Yeah.
What's up, Issa? Thank you. And Patrick.
Where at Rutgers?
Rutgers this Friday. We're supporting RJD2. Should be kind of interesting.
Interesting.
Wait, Rutgers has this famous sandwich cart where Maxim voted the sandwich cart like the best sandwich
Wait,
in
is that where
America.
No, I'm thinking back into older tours.
I want to say,
Really?
like, and excuse my language, I think the name of the sandwich, like the fat bitch or something like
Grease
that.
trucks, yeah.
Oh.
The grease
This is
trucks.
at Rutgers. They have these
Yeah.
trucks, and there's like 6 of them, and they're all kind of similar, but they have like really kind of obscene names for all of their sandwiches.
My lord.
They're amazing. You
They're-
can get
but-
like a sandwich that has
It's like
mozzarella sticks and
chicken
stuff.
fingers, French fries. I mean, it's
Yeah, and there's
it's-
one called the Fat Bitch. Definitely.
So you guys know what you're eating now.
And
Absolutely.
we'll put they can't see it, but we'll put best sandwich in quotes because I can imagine. I would recommend it for after the show.
Yeah.
that might
Yeah.
hinder the performance. Chowing down one of those.
Like
But,
college drunk food or something.
I mean,
Yeah.
it's,
So wait, so you still haven't? I mean, we still haven't answered when you're going. I mean, I know you're excited about the fat bitch, but when are you playing?
It's Friday.
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 It's Friday,
13th.
13th. And
Friday.
Ooh.
Oh.
I always love college. I used to work at college radio, and we didn't have any money for programming, which sucks because they always think college is thing. But I always love college music festival programs because you're like, what? These people are playing together? And it's always awesome because it's like the 5 music people being like, my favorite band is playing. And it's like, and it's like, well, fuck you. My favorite band is playing. Like, we got enough money for everybody, which is not real world terms at all.
We're going to win over the backpackers.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's the plan.
They're going to love us.
Rutgers,
Well, we've also got another show in Brooklyn coming up.
Oh, where?
The following Friday on the 20th at Glasslands. It's us
Glasslands.
and Tan Lines and
Love Tan Lines.
Dude, Tan
Crystal
Lines.
Fighters.
Who are Crystal Fighters?
Another Crystal band?
Another
Yeah,
Crystal
right.
band. They're from Spain. They're dancey.
Oh,
Okay.
Spain
Also,
is
they
good.
By
probably
the
don't-
way, Tan Lines at, was it the worst party? When we saw him this summer at the Yard?
Oh, at the Yard.
Yeah.
Oh my
That was
God.
fun. I was there.
Oh, you were there?
That was blast.
I was just blown away.
We're trying to figure out how to get them
how
on
many
the show.
how many hype bands
No, I know, but
do
it's
you
just
hear?
Jesse works
and
on
then, like,
Mondays.
they actually
Mm.
deliver. They were so good. I was like, who's this guy? Because I saw the guy walking around with like the 2 ponytail braids. I was like, who's this guy walking around at the Yard? And then he hops on stage. And
Wait,
I was
no,
like,
that was the other band. That was
Q&A.
Q&A.
Oh, Q&A and Tan Lines.
Q&A.
Both
and-
awesome.
Q&A was great. But that's like mostly phenomenal hand clap band, like side
Pretty
project.
much. I think the one spearheading it is our friend Alexis
Yeah.
Yoyopolo. He's a San Franciscan.
Yoyopolo?
Yoyopolo.
That's a great last name.
It's a great
Yeah.
name.
But yeah, that they're great. And then also like the we saw Restless People a bunch of times during CMJ, and
Yeah.
then what was that other band? They were just backing that woman.
Glasser.
Glasser.
She's an old friend of ours.
Yeah. High school.
Really?
Yeah.
Mhm.
So is that your scene?
So you
all
guys-
those guys? I mean, is that who that you roll with?
Kind of.
Pretty much. It's kind of the True Panther
Yeah.
thing.
Crew.
You know
Was
what?
Dean from San
Posse.
Francisco?
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh.
Dean-
I
yeah.
met Dean at Tower Records when I was 15.
So you guys pretty much are like we're
Pour one
all
out for Tower Records.
He was passing out a punk flyer. I was wearing an Earth Crisis T-shirt, and he said, "Hey, do you like punk rock?
I
That's
got
again-
these flyers. It's in my mom's basement.
Do you want to come to the show?"
Little maybe like hair
Yeah.
shuffle with the fingers.
Yeah, it was good.
That's awesome. I mean, you guys went with a good crew. I mean, it's good music.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's great.
Dean's.
That's what we're into.
And you guys all into food. You guys ever get together and do big like potluck dinners or barbecues?
We do. Yeah, we've done a few barbecues in the summer at Dean's Matador friends' homes, and then. But I don't know. Last time we had a dinner party, I can't remember. Glasser doesn't live here.
I've definitely dined with Glasser plenty.
Yeah.
Dimes Glasser. Sweet. All right, so thank you for being on here.
Yeah.
We got about 15 minutes left. Maybe have you guys play one more set.
Yeah, play some
Sure.
records.
And then we'll come back. We'll say goodbye.
No, we'll just close out with music.
Really?
I'm feeling I like ending with music.
What if we shout goodbyes over the music?
Okay, that works.
We could do that.
We could do
We'll
that.
take some coordination. Anyway, so you're listening to Snacky Tunes on Heritage Radio. Big shout out to Jack Ginsley and Rectech, our producer and engineer. Big shout out to Lemonade. Thank you guys. Do one more set.
Thank you.
Big shout out also to Roberta's for giving us some free food. Fantastic. Big shout out for me for not turning out my phone.
Terry.
Fairway Market in the city and in Red Hook. Check it out. Great food, great prices, good time.
And next week
And,
is, I believe, unless both of us go to Austin, it'll be Cubic Zirconium performing live in studio.
Yes, and then also Roberta's. Don't forget this Friday party.
We got the Slasher Strip Club fundraiser for their, I think it's on a high school too, a high school rooftop garden, 1
Yeah.
acre.
And then also this Saturday, Austin Famous Friends, Russ Chimes, Space on 8th. I'm really sorry I did not dig up that email, but if you just write
If you go to VDRK. If you just search VDRK blog, it's on there. It's in the sidebar.
or you can just hit us up at music@fotpnyc.com.
It's a lot of information.
And
just
then
there, people.
November 24th, dinner with the band on IFC premiering. Very excited. Shout out to the IFC family: Doug, Christine, Keisha, Jesse, Dana.
What's your favorite pizza?
That calzone,
The Calzone. You?
Yeah. Calzone 1.
the calzone one.
for me.
That it was like prosciutto, ricotta, pesto. Come to Roberta, support it. They're
It's
doing
really
great
good.
things here.
Uh,
Anyway, we're fingering on the pulse.
You got
Ladies and
something
gentlemen,
else? Lemonade.
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 Favorite pizza in New York.
Oh, favorite pizza in New York.
We're new here.
Oh, I like Lenona on North 4th and Bedford.
Lenona is awesome. Lenona is really good.
I think Carmine's.
No,
See, that's what we thought first too.
Really?
Yes.
just to live here a little bit longer and you'll
Yeah.
get the real insight. So anyway.
Thank you.
It was Juve morning. I bumped some Marilyn, sexiest thing that I have ever seen. So we started jamming while the steel band beating. She hold on to me and start saying, "Rap to me, please, darling, hold me tight. Just make sure we going home tonight. I don't have no man, so have no pride. We jamming from the one till broad daylight." And she tell me, "Jam if you jamming, wine if you whining, dance if you prancing. It's Juve morning. We jamming, we whining, it's bacana. I come out to play my carnival." I say, "Listen, honey, let me take it easy. Everybody, they're looking at we. Like they playing social. Why not make bacana? That's the true spirit of carnival. Rap to me, please, darling, hold me tight. Just make sure we going home tonight. I don't have no man, so have no pride. We jamming from the one till broad daylight." And she tell me, "Jam if you jamming, wine if you whining, dance if you prancing. It's Juve morning. We jamming, we whining, it's bacana. I come out to play my carnival." That was a jam session, calypso and steel band. Every woman jamming with a hand. Jamming every corner, jamming in the center. And jamming, shouting out soca. Rap to me, please, darling, hold me tight. Just make sure we going home tonight. I don't have no man, so have no pride. We jamming from the one till broad daylight. And she tell me, "Jam if you jamming, wine if you whining, dance if you prancing. It's Juve morning. We jamming, we whining, it's bacana. I come out to play my carnival." Coming to the last lap, Marilyn fall down flat. Everybody tumble down on top. All she say is play mass, keep on jamming, don't stop. Anybody break the band they lost. Rap to me, please, darling, hold me tight. Just make sure we going home tonight. I don't have no man, so have no pride. We jamming from the one till broad daylight. And she tell me, "Jam if you jamming, wine if you whining, dance if you prancing. It's Juve morning. We jamming, we whining, it's bacana.